Judy Elliott, and welcome to Breaktime. Have you ever embarrassed yourself by saying something that wasn't quite what you wanted it to be communicated as? Well, today we're going to be having a great conversation and a great guest who will be talking with us about how to get through some of those difficult situations. So stay with us here on Breaktime. We'll be right back.
You have a finicky feline? Here at Dalton Veterinary Practice in Kitty Corner, we have a unique cats-only waiting area that'll take some stress off of your trip to the vet. Our office has a completely separate waiting room for both dogs and cats. We are conveniently located on Cleveland Highway. We offer wellness and urgent care appointments for both dogs and cats, Monday and Tuesday, 8 to 5, and Wednesday through Friday from 8 to 8. Call 706-281-4770 to make your appointment today.
Experience the power of the links. OptiLink streaming app VidLink, powered by its fastest internet service, GigLink. Your link to reliable remote access to healthcare. Your link to the best educational opportunities. Your link to our community's only local provider. Your link to the ultimate in entertainment choices and gaming experiences. No interruptions and faster downloads power up your life with the perfect combination of speed and entertainment. VidLink and GigLink. Upgrade today and get the power of the link.
At First Franklin Financial, we make loans for living, offering personal loans from $600 to $15,000 with fixed rates, flexible terms, and payment plans to fit any budget. And with same-day approvals, you can get your money right away. The next time you need a little financial help, First Franklin Financial is here for you. Visit oneffc.com to learn more.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back again to Breaktime. I'm here with a guest today who I'm so proud and delighted to be with, Professor Drye. And certainly it's a great pleasure to have you and appreciate you coming to be with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, I know I met you a couple of weeks back, actually from Rotary. And I was so impressed with how you engaged with the members and all. I wanted to bring you on and talk about a little bit about the importance of communication. I'm going to let you tell a little bit about yourself, but I know you're associate professor of communication at Dalton State and also a humorist. So you can tell me the rest of that.
Well, I'm just a guy who, as a child, was a person with a speech impediment.
Really?
Yeah, I had a speech impediment. I was a hyperactive child. I had some emotional issues related to a number of things, including but not limited to the death of my mother at a young age. It's interesting that, I, as a kid growing up with a speech impediment, now I learn people to talk good. So that's amazing how life can change for you. But I had a lot of issues growing up. And one of the things I discovered, I wanted to be able to communicate with people effectively. Even I couldn't articulate it that way as a small child, but I knew I wanted to do better because people would laugh at me when I would talk. And but in fact, even adults would try to get me to talk because I sounded funny. And so by talking funny, they would laugh at me. And I wanted them to not laugh at me anymore. I wanted them to laugh with me. Have you ever noticed how when people say, I am not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you, most of the time when they say that, you're not laughing. And so I wanted people to laugh with me and not at me. And so I wanted to be able to communicate effectively, and I wanted to be able to share humor with people. And that was from a very early age. And humor became sort of a defense mechanism, and it was a big part of my sort of communication arsenal, if you will, to defend myself, but also to get people to think of me in a different way than the boisterous, troubled, emotional kid with the speech impediment. I grew out of the speech impediment, and I learned how to articulate my thoughts a little bit more effectively, but always with humor and always with storytelling. And I don't know, that just kind of became who I am. More, not just what I do, it became who I am. And it's kind of saved my life in a lot of respects.
So I know you incorporate that a lot with, you're talking about humorists or being, that situation. I know you incorporate a lot of that with your students that you have at Dalton State. Tell me the different classes, first of all, that you teach.
Well, I teach an awful lot of public speaking classes, and I teach people how to effectively research, write, prepare, and deliver an effective message. I teach an introductory course that introduces people to the communication discipline called human communication. It deals with interpersonal, health communication, organizational communication, etc. I teach the OrgComm, or organizational communication class, because that's my background. And I also teach a class in humor communication that I developed when I was at Clemson University, and I brought with me when I came to Dalton. And so that's a lot of fun. And I teach a few other classes here and there, but those are the primary classes I teach.
How important is it to, I know we have phones, we have all ways to communicate now. How important is it to still have that one-on-one?
Oh, I think it's critically important. As a matter of fact, I think one of the things that we learned, one of the things we discovered, at least I hope we did, I hope we learned this.
Yeah.
During the whole COVID debacle, the pandemic, where we had to kind of stay away from each other and do a lot of things online that we would have done face-to-face. One of the things I think we discovered is how much we need the interpersonal face-to-face contact, and people just got into what people began calling Zoom gloom, from being on meetings online all the time. I know in our case, we had to rush to kind of create an online presence with our teaching when we hadn't planned to. In spring of 2020, the second half of the semester, we did completely online, and then we followed that up in the summer, we're doing online, when we hadn't really planned on doing online instruction, and it was really challenging. And in the public speaking class particularly, there's value in speaking to the camera and learning how to communicate with the camera, but there's no way to replicate having an audience and speaking to them, being in person with them, except to have an audience and be with them. So it's been some challenging things for us during this time, but I think maybe we'll be better off in the long run because if we learn those lessons.
Yeah, definitely so. Have you ever caught yourself in a situation or said something that you really didn't want it to be communicated?
No, I've always said everything perfectly, and but I've heard of that. I've heard of people doing that.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, obviously, we all have those times where we said things either that we shouldn't have said, or we didn't say them in exactly the way that we intended to say it. I know. I met a couple, and we were just talking, and we just met. A delightful couple. We're just having a conversation. They mentioned their grandchildren. And I said, well, you folks, and I'm just completely sincere, I said, you folks don't look old enough to have grandchildren. And the woman said, I color my hair. Well, it's lovely. That's what I should have said.
What did you say?
I said, well, this is the color you chose?
Oh, my
And
goodness.
so in retrospect, I was teasing, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And her husband thought that was hilarious. But I could tell that she kind of took, it kind of hurt her feelings a little bit. And so I apologized, but you can't take words back. And while the intentionality was not to hurt, we have to be very careful about that.
Yeah, I want to know how to get out of some of those situations myself. Hey, we have a break, so stay with us. You stay with us. We have more to come here on Break Time in just a moment.
Hey guys, I'm Shane Franks, and today we're here to discuss seafood, one of my favorite topics. We're here at the Juicy Seafood, conveniently located on Walnut Avenue in front of Walnut Square Mall. Juicy Seafood started off in Alabama, and they have spread all through the South because everybody cannot get enough of their food. They have their own unique seasonings exclusively to them that they make, and their food is made to order right there on the spot. They also pride themselves in their friendly staff, so if you're wanting something a little bit different, maybe you're tired of burgers, come try the Juicy Seafood.
Hey guys, I'm Shane Franks, and I'm here at Paniagua Auto Mall with
Francisco Paniagua.
and he's going to tell us how we can get ourselves in a good car today. How easy is it?
It's very easy. If you got credit, just come see us. If you don't have credit, come, bring 2 pay stubs, last bank statement, and the rest we can do it here.
And there's over 400 vehicles to choose from, so if you're tired of driving around in that clunker, come over here and they'll give you something you'll be proud to ride in. Thank you.
I see families come in here beaten down, broken.
I found that I wasn't alone.
Compassion House actually cared.
So I don't think I'd have made it without them.
Here at the Compassion House, families are built and grown. They're reunited and equipped with the tools that they need to succeed. Learn to love by being loved. Do you have a passion to strengthen your community and help families? To get involved, go to www.compassionhouseinc.com, 706-272-2843.
Hi everyone, welcome back again to Break Time. I'm Judy Elliott, and my guest today is Professor Drye. And you thought I was going to say Drye, didn't you?
Yeah, I wish you had. That's my name.
I was just teasing you. I was going to see if you caught that. You caught it. You caught it.
It happens all the time.
Let's talk about, we're talking about communications and the importance of good communication, but let's talk about body language.
Okay.
Tell me about the difference, like, what does this mean here? I'm talking to you.
Well, the experts, and I don't claim to be one of those, the experts say that when you do this, you're sort of closed off and resistant to the message.
Kind of like this?
So you ask me on your show, and then you don't want to hear what I've got to say.
I better undo that rap there. Go ahead.
So much of our communication is nonverbal. And the research shows that when there is a discrepancy between the verbal and the nonverbal, we tend to believe the verbal over the nonverbal. So, for example, if you said, welcome to my show, and I said, yeah, I'm really excited to be here, you're not going to believe that. The audience is not going to believe that because my demeanor, my slumped over body, my facial expressions kind of belie what I just said. So we pay a lot of attention to that, and some of it is cultural. For example, there are some things that we do here in America, some symbols and signs that we do that in other countries are offensive. And so I won't say what they are in case, you've got people watching in those countries. I don't want to, offend them, but they're fine here. Yeah. We know what they mean, but in some cultures they're offensive. It's kind of like giving the middle finger here, to someone, which we would never do. But some folks on I-75 might, but we wouldn't do it.
Isn't that called the Hollywood wave?
I've heard it called that and some other things. Yes. Half a peace sign, whatever. Yeah. But it's, so body language is really important. When you're really engaged, really interested in the other person, you have a tendency to lean forward and like you really want to hear what they've got to say. And it's really interesting. We mentioned COVID earlier. That kind of threw a monkey wrench in things as well, because they were talking about social distancing, and they wanted to just stay 6 feet apart for a while. And in our culture, the personal space, which is very important to us, is defined as about 18 inches, about 1.5 feet. If you get much closer than that, people get a little uncomfortable. In fact, I will sometimes do an experiment with students. I'll have them come up and just stand up there with me, and I'll be talking to them, and I'll just kind of while we're talking, I'll just kind of step forward them, and they always step back. I'm not threatening them in the way, and I never touch them, but it's just a natural thing because we want that 1.5 foot buffer. And so when you burst the bubble, of that, it becomes uncomfortable for folks. And we had with the social distancing, the personal space became a lot bigger. And I think we've kind of come back to how I want that 8. I'm okay with 18 inches, Yeah. Now, in some cultures, they're actually offended if you don't get right up in their face. So it is. There are different kind of things that regulate our nonverbals as well as our verbals.
Right. What are some other things? This is kind of shutting you out. Can you,
Well, and then the opposite of that is just kind of being open like this, and where I really want to hear more what you've got to say, and your facial expressions, eyes attentive, eyebrows up.
Yeah. How important is it to be a good listener?
Oh, that's huge. In fact, I sometimes teach a class in listening, actually, and most of us think we're pretty good listeners. And when we actually try to test it out, we discover that maybe we're not as good at listening as we thought we were. And, I know that's a big part. I've been married to my wife for a long time. And I teach listening, but sometimes I don't hear what she says.
Do you tune out sometimes?
Well, it's not tuning out. It's just we tend to get selective. We also get, been together a while, you get a shorthand, and so sometimes if we start moving away from the shorthand into the longhand, sometimes we miss out on some things. But listening is critically important. I think if one of the things it shows is that when we're listening, it shows that we care what the other person has to say. That we care about the other person as a human being. And when we don't listen, and my goodness, we've got these things here. People are so glued to these, and sometimes you're having a conversation with someone, they're doing this while you're talking to them. It makes you think they're really not listening, and in fact, they really are not, because you cannot be completely in tune with both at the same time. It's not possible. And we think we're good at multitasking. Research shows that we're not nearly as good at that as we think we are.
It's a little rude too.
It is rude. I think so. Of course, I'm a little older. I grew up in front of what that is. So that's kind of rude. If you're not paying attention. It's kind of in a way it's kind of passive aggressive, if you want to say it that way.
Well, do you find that our younger generation is missing some of the part of communication because of the phones or because of the other way, staying so in tune with, YouTube or Instagram? All those are great, but do you think that we're missing something with the earlier generation?
I think it's possible. I do think it's not restricted to just the younger generation, because even middle-aged folks and older folks are now kind of getting caught up in this as well. And it's hard not to. I resisted getting even a cell phone for a long time, till one day I had to drive 3 hours through a blizzard. I decided that maybe I should have one. But I think we do get there's a disconnect when we don't just look at each other and communicate.
Right. All right, with that, I'm going to take a break, because I understand from the signals that's just been given to me, we've got to take a break. All right, stay with us here on Break Time. We'll be right back with you.
Do you have a new home project? Come to West Yellowknife. We've been providing doors, windows, flooring, and unfinished cabinets for 4 decades. We have new, unique, and exclusive items weekly at a price you can afford. Let our friendly staff assist and point you in the right direction. West Yellowknife, conveniently located right off of I-75 at 2226 Chattanooga Road, Dalton, Georgia. Come let us make the job easier and make your dream home complete.
Thank you.
Thank you, North Georgia.
Gracias, North Georgia.
We appreciate you, North Georgia.
I'm C-Mark. I'm John Moore. Like the Georgia Bulldogs, we're number one.
Thank you, North Georgia, for voting us number one 6 years in a row.
If you're hurt and want the best,
give us a call. We'll do the rest.
My car looks totally ruined. I don't even know what to do.
Locally owned Dalton Collision Center is the only choice when it comes to all of your auto body and refinish needs. Our experienced staff provides quality work from start to finish, will help with your claim, and even assist with getting your rental car. Everything from A to Z.
So you can focus on life, we can focus on getting you there.
Hi there, welcome back again to Break Time. I'm here with Professor Drye, and I said it right that time,
didn't I? Good job.
But so many people, you say mispronounce that.
Yeah, it's
D-R-Y-E.
It is hard to explain. When my wife married me, she took my name, and I said, well, before you decide whether to do that or not, you get used to people mispronouncing your name. She said, that's ridiculous. It'll never happen. And it wasn't long after we got married that she learned it. I don't know. I think it's the fact that there's an E on the end. This D-R-Y-E, not just D-R-Y. I think for D-R-Y, people would get Drye. Yeah. I think some branches of our family have dropped the E just because of that.
Yeah.
But they want it to be more, so I get Dryer or they'll move the E and the R around, make it dire, or they'll just drop out the R and make it die. I had a substitute teacher in high school who said Dargo. I don't know where you got Dargo at all. I get Jerry Dr. Yee. I get mail to Jerry Dr. Yee. I don't know. That sounds like a James Bond villain. So it's amazing. J.D. Rye, I get that a lot, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just a simple old world name, Drye, which has its literal meaning, not wet. I mean, it's just dry. But people struggle with it.
Right. What would you advice you would give someone if you like what happened to you? You say something and you're in a situation, you're in some kind of social function or a meeting, group meeting, and you say something that really wasn't what you meant to say, like you were talking about in one of the segments here. What do? Do you keep trying to bundle it, try to correct it, or you let it go? Or
I think it depends on how bad the offense is. I think sometimes when you try to fix things, you make it worse. But I think if you're speaking with someone that knows you well, and sort of knows what your intentionality is, usually it's not that hard to fix. Yeah. But sometimes when you're speaking to people who maybe don't know you as well, then it can be a challenge. It's the best thing is, here's the thing that I try to do is if I, before I say something, and I do have a filter, before I say something, if I have this inkling that maybe it won't be received well, I just don't say it. It's just better not to say it than to be misunderstood. I have a rule that if I write an email that then I look at it and I say, that may come across wrong or not the way I mean it, I'll wait 24 hours before I hit send.
Yes,
I'll take a breath.
That's a great idea.
And so a lot of those emails never do get sent because after 24 hours, no, or I rewrite it and say this, you say it in a different way.
Right.
But
well,
it's hard sometimes to be miscommunicated with.
Right. Well, here's an example of what happened to me one time. So, I'm at the grocery store. and this lady keeps going up and down the aisle, and finally she looks at me and she says, "Are you that little girl? Are you that little girl on TV?" Yeah. Then you know what her next comment was? "You sure look different on person than TV." Well, what am I supposed to think?
I loved you and Tammy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. What are you supposed to? What are you supposed to think? Do I look better, worse, like older, young, or what are you saying?
Yeah, just say thank you and move on because people have said things to me that, for example, I had a gig one time. I go into places and I share humor with them. And I had a gig one time, and people were coming up to me, being very complimentary. "Thank you very much. That was great." And I had one woman came up to me and said, "I hope you get better." And I had been struggling with some throat issues that night, and I hope that's what she was talking about. But I just said, "Well, I'm always trying to get better." So
see, though, but you really don't know how to take that sometimes. Do they mean that as an insult, or were they? You don't know.
Yeah,
you don't know.
I try to just assume that people mean well and not be because. The problem is, if I assume you mean me harm, then I may be tempted to do harm back and it escalate it and make it worse. And so I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I try to read the room and not be hurtful myself. But now, on the other hand, when I'm doing stand-up or doing humor in an event, there's an expectation almost that you're going to come at folks a little bit. But now my humor tends to be gentle. I try not to use it. I try not to direct humor at people. I don't demean groups of people. I don't make fun of people's physical characteristics. I learned that early. When I was 8 years old, I made fun of a bald man in a barber chair, and it was wrong to do so. But I've karma, divine retribution, poetic justice. I've been paid back in spades on that.
That is too funny. What do you think about? I like your advice of what you just mentioned too. That rather than hit the send button, or either by text or email, to kind of don't react so quickly. If you've got a response, maybe you need to just put it in.
Take a breath. Nothing heals better than time. And so some of the things that we react strongly to, when we think about it, it really wasn't as big a deal as we thought of initially.
Yeah.
And in rereading that, or in rethinking what was said and how it was said, I realized that maybe I took it in a way that it wasn't intended. And so rather than escalate, I'm going to try to moderate and try to make sure that I don't make it worse.
Yeah. You know, we talked a little bit about this before we started taping. You being a professor at Dalton State College and in communications, what do you hope that your students will walk out with after the course is over?
I want my students to feel like they didn't waste their money.
Of course.
I want them to feel like the time was valuable, that they learned, that they grew, that they are better off for having taken the course. And in the communication courses, I want them to leave thinking, I'm a more effective communicator now than I ever have been, and that this process is a continuing process. It doesn't end when the class ends.
Fantastic. Well, our time is up. I do so appreciate you coming and being with us today as our guest.
Well, thanks for having me. We should have done it last week.
Yeah, should have. All right, thank you again. And thank you for being with us here today on Break Time. I'm Judy Elliott. We hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Are you searching for your dream home? Look no further. Introducing Sean Wallen, your dedicated and trusted realtor, ready to help you find the perfect place to call home. Imagine waking up to breathtaking views, luxurious living spaces, and a neighborhood that suits your lifestyle. Sean Wallen understands that your home is your sanctuary and goes above and beyond to help you find your dream home.
Call me today at 706-609-9197 and allow me to unlock the door to your dream home.
Turn your real estate dreams into an exciting reality.
Did you know skin cancer is the most common cancer in the United States, with over 5 million cases diagnosed each year, yet it is one of the most preventable? Hi, I'm Courtney Johnston, the physician assistant at Dalton Plastic Surgery. Did you know we offer routine skin checks in our office? Schedule your appointment with us if you have any areas of concern or if you have not had a recent skin exam. At Dalton Plastic Surgery, we offer an array of different services to help you feel and look your very best. Give us a call today.
Have you ever wanted to buy apartments before and want to learn what it's like to have multifamily income generated or have passive income? Hi, my name is Eric Azua. I'm with Keller Williams CT Capital out of Dalton, Georgia. Take a look at some of our opportunities that are available here today in Dalton. They're under construction now. You can become the owner of one of these fine apartment buildings by January of 2024. Give us a call today for the details.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. So if you want to talk to your kids, you have to get it trending.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Let's go.
Can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.